Welcome to Noctugal Productions, my name is Noctugal, and Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is the newest addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or MCU, and while it gave us a plethora of incredible martial arts and CGI demon monster action, we were also left with some burning questions, such as where in the heck did the rings come from? What are they made of? Where did the Great Protector come from? Is the dragon connected to the rings or the McLuhans? Is the Great Protector a McLuhan? These questions are intentionally left unanswered over the course of the film, clearly remaining a mystery until the next MCU project gives us an exposition dump or a few throwaway jokes to explain these burning questions. In the comics, the rings technically have at least two origins, as Marvel often reworks and alters aspects of their stories, especially when the content is questionable or insensitive for current audiences, which is certainly the case with the history of the Mandarin and Shang-Chi. Regardless, the story generally shows the Mandarin stealing the rings from a McLuhan ship. And if you're not yet aware of the McLuhans in Marvel Comics, they are essentially highly advanced space dragons with technology far superior to most species. And little is revealed about their technology and history beyond broad exposition. As is the case, Marvel is in the prime opportunity to alter or evolve the McLuhans and the Ten Rings of Power. The exact material of the Ten Rings is never explicitly stated in the comics, or even in the often forgotten Iron Man Armored Adventures series, in which the rings are the primary plot devices. Nor is the method of their creation truly known, though each ring originally contained a soul of powerful cosmic beings. This is how the unique abilities of each ring is explained in the comics, though if you've seen the Shang-Chi film, it would seem that the rings' abilities are different than in other iterations of the rings. Not only are the rings larger, more befitting of the giant space aliens, they don't appear as human preconceived notions of rings, as a form of fashion, as they don't have crowns in which to set unique stones, as the rings have historically been depicted. This drives home the message that the rings are not of this world. Though with Wong's and Captain Marvel's reaction to the rings, they may not even come from this universe in the MCU. This phase of the MCU is leaning heavily into extra-dimensional threats and the concept of the multiverse. With that in mind, coupled with Marvel's acquisition of the X-Men from Fox, I think it's likely that the rings are forged from adamantium. Adamantium has been absent in the MCU up to this point, and based on character reactions at the end of Shang-Chi, a metal as strong as adamantium would not go unnoticed in this universe. This leads me to believe that the McLuhans will still be a highly advanced shape-shifting alien species in the MCU, though they will come from a separate universe that has access to metals such as adamantium. While this may not directly connect to the introduction of the X-Men, as it wouldn't make sense, it would reaffirm Marvel's acquisition of more Marvel IPs and assets, and that the X-Men and Fantastic Four will be appearing soon. It would be a subtle nod to the future of the MCU, as well as to make the McLuhans more significant and relevant than they have been since their inception. They would not only be upgraded to extra-dimensional entities, they would also introduce the material that is a major component of the Marvel Comics that was a go-to powerful metal before Vibranium, as adamantium is technically stronger and more durable. With Vibranium and adamantium being the most common metals in the Marvel Universe, it stands to reason that Marvel will be using the mystery metal of the Ten Rings to introduce adamantium to the MCU in order to set up various storylines later on, many involving the X-Men, of course. An obvious issue with this theory is that it doesn't explain how adamantium will become more widely available in the MCU. The McLuhan invasion likely couldn't account for providing this universe with a plethora of adamantium, so that throws a wrench in things. However, as I said, I can't imagine what other metal the rings could be made of that fans would care about, as a new MCU original metal wouldn't be as satisfying to everyone. We don't yet know how drastically the rings and McLuhans have been altered, though Marvel Studios has a lot of creative freedom in this area, especially as we just witnessed the total reworking of Shang-Chi and the Mandarin, which makes it more plausible that the McLuhan technology is primarily composed of adamantium, making them another major extra-dimensional threat offered in this increasingly maddening multiverse.